Once I pass him, I get the title, and you put me against Paddy.
I finish you. I finish you, little man. He's even copying my shouts now. I'm made up with that. That's made my day. But I'd love to come to Bernabeu and punch your face in. You know what I mean? Do it in Spain in front of your fake countrymen because you're really German.
Ilia Topuria didn't walk away from a punch, he walked away from a conversation. In Qatar, the undefeated two-division destroyer who slept Volkanovski, Holloway, and Oliveira turned his back not on fists, but on words. Paddy Pimblett's response, exactly the insult you're imagining. And underneath the noise, that moment told us something important about where this rivalry is really being fought. The Qatar flashpoint. How a casual greeting blew up the sport November 21st, 2025, Doha, Qatar, outside the desert air boil. Inside a hotel courtyard near ABBA Arena, something hotter was brewing. 4 years of bad blood finally spilling into real life. The UFC's historic debut in Qatar was supposed to be about Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, about global expansion and shiny new marks. Instead, the thing that hijacked every feed wasn't a fight under the lights, but a hallway encounter between two men who have grown to genuinely hate each other. Topuria was there to corner his brother Alexandre. Paddy was in town backing his next generation teammates Luke Riley and Shamrock. Same hotel, same week, same shared history of venom. A collision wasn't a possibility, it was physics. Phone footage captured the moment. From across the courtyard, Paddy raised a thumbs up and called out, "What's happening? You alright?" On paper, it sounded friendly. In reality, everyone who knows the story understood it as a jab at the champion's reluctance to sign a contract for their long-awaited grudge match. Topuria's reaction was instant. He barked, "Paul, wait," across the courtyard, voice bouncing off hotel walls. Paddy didn't flinch. He fired back, "All right, chorizo, calm down," reviving the Spanish sausage insult he's been using for more than a year. Security moved immediately, 3 big bodies forming a wall in front of Paddy, blocking the entrance and killing any chance of a physical clash. The two never got within 20 feet of one another. No punches, no shoves, just words and distance. Then came the moment that launched 1,000 hot takes. Topuria turned and walked into the hotel while Paddy stayed outside, grinning like he just won a round with no bell. The next day, in a sit-down interview that would go viral, Paddy took that moment and spun it into a weapon. He framed Topuria not as a cold-blooded killer, but as a man who folds when confronted without the safety net of the octagon and the UFC cameras. At one point in that interview, discussing comments Topuria had made about Charles Oliveira, Paddy even agreed with him.
I agree with him there. I agree with him. Like, I wouldn't want to hear Charles Oliveira either. Know what I mean? I like Charles, he's a very good fighter.
But the respect stopped there. When the subject turned back to Topuria himself, Paddy went for the jugular.
That's funny though, I don't think he's going to accept it. I'll accept it tomorrow.
I'll give you that respect, but you will never knock me out. I'm going to submit you. You'll live. What I'm going to do is,
he said little pussy.
No, you can't knock me out.
See there though, that was embarrassing from him. He copied what McGregor said. "I'm going to put my balls on your forehead." He copied what McGregor said. Like, that's the thing about him, man. He's not original.
Calling a champion a coward is one thing, calling him a Conor McGregor knockoff is another. Paddy attacked the core of Topuria's image, the idea that he's the next global superstar. If the trash talk, the swagger, even the ink is just recycled McGregor, then the myth becomes cover band, not headliner. 4 years of hate. How a tweet started a war. To get why Qatar mattered so much, you have to rewind to 2021 when this wasn't Topuria versus Paddy yet. It was just noise on social media. It started with another Georgian fighter, Garam Kutataladze, calling out Paddy. Paddy responded with the usual banter, then stepped miles over the line with a tweet belittling Georgians and referencing Russia's history of terrorizing them. To most fighters, it's just trash talk. To Georgians, it's generational trauma. Russia and Georgia went to war in 2008. Hundreds died, tens of thousands were displaced, and some of those deaths touched Topuria's own family. For him, that tweet wasn't edgy promotion, it was someone laughing at a wound that never healed. Topuria's warning at the time was simple. If Paddy thought they wouldn't eventually cross paths, he was delusional. He promised he wouldn't step back when he saw him in person. And at UFC London in March 2022, the universe obliged.
Sorry to interrupt, bro, but I truly want to hear your opinion. If our content feels good to you, please comment your thoughts. We're facing low subscriptions lately, and your support means the world. Please subscribe so we can continue this journey together.
In the fighter hotel kitchen, Paddy was alone when Topuria and his team approached. Paddy grabbed the closest thing to a weapon, a bottle of hand sanitizer, and launched it. It connected with Topuria's head. Topuria swung, knocked Paddy's food off the table, and surged forward before his team dragged him back. Later, Paddy took that moment and twisted it into a meme. Hand sanitizer boy. He tore into Topuria's identity for good measure, mocking his mixed German, Georgian, Spanish background and reviving the chorizo insult.
He called me a sausage? I've never seen this. He called me a sausage?
Pelearía con él porque
He's even copying my shouts now.
cae fatal, la verdad. Y a mí me encantaría regalarle ese combate a todos los fanáticos porque desde hace mucho tiempo yo creo que dentro de la UFC no se ve una pelea de verdad.
Oh, lad, he called me a sausage. Easy. I'm made up with that. That's made my day.
Fast forward to June 2025. Topuria knocks out Charles Oliveira in the first round at UFC 317 to win the lightweight title, adding to a streak that already included brutal finishes of Volkanovski and Holloway. This should have been his coronation. Instead, Paddy jumped the cage, stormed into the octagon, and got in his face. Topuria shoved him. The rivalry wasn't just alive, it was now welded directly onto the belt. Contract chess and the business of hate. You'd think that after UFC 317, the path would be simple. Champion versus arch nemesis, stack the card, print the money. But the fight game is never that straightforward. Multiple reporters claim the UFC sent Topuria a contract for January 2026, possibly in London. Topuria's manager posted a cryptic, "We are studying all options, nothing signed yet." Meanwhile, Paddy cranked the pressure online.
I done to him what no one else has ever done before and beat him up for 3 rounds. He normally has close fights with top contenders and everyone underestimates me. Everyone looks at me and thinks I'm a child still and doesn't think I'm that good until they actually get in there with me.
Publicly, Paddy kept it simple. Give me Ilia or give me a #1 contender fight.
I just want to fight anyone ranked above me, really. If it's not Ilia, I want a #1 contender fight, but I obviously want Ilia. You know what I mean? He's got the belt. He's who I want to fight. I want to fight for a world title. I want to be the UFC world champion, so.
In the background, the division was chaos. Justin Gaethje, the human car crash, had the resume and the fanbase. Arman Tsarukyan, ranked #1 and endlessly technical, had just come back with a statement win after injury. Dan Hooker lurked as a live underdog. On paper, Pimblett's claim to a title shot wasn't as clean as theirs. But the hate with Topuria was real, and the UFC has never been allergic to drama that sells. Then everything flipped again. On November 27th, 2025, Topuria released a statement saying he wouldn't fight in the first quarter of 2026 due to a difficult personal moment and a need to focus on his kid. Rumors swirled about his marriage, but he stayed vague. What mattered was this: the belt was going to sit on the shelf. The UFC reacted instantly, booking Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for an interim lightweight title at UFC 324. Tsarukyan's fanbase went ballistic, claiming this was proof of Paddy privilege, showing that charisma and clicks had jumped the queue ahead of merit. Meanwhile, Paddy kept tweaking Topuria's temper. He drew direct lines to the way McGregor broke Jose Aldo mentally before UFC 194.
But what he said there is, I wouldn't throw a punch at first when he would. You're an emotional little baby, lad. When I come out to fight him, he'd try and take my head off with the first 3 punches he throws.
Then there was the most cutting part, the originality attack.
That's just embarrassing that he said balls on your head because he's copied Conor McGregor. Like, be original, be yourself. Don't copy what somebody else has said. But I can see so many ways that'll finish him.
To Paddy, Ilia isn't just beatable physically, he's breakable psychologically, and Qatar in his mind was Exhibit A, the matchup. Numbers, narratives, and nastiness on paper, Topuria is the better fighter. As of late November 2025, he's 17-0 with 9 UFC wins and a highlight reel that looks like a hit list. Volkanovski, Holloway, Oliveira, all finished. Moving to lightweight seems to have supercharged him. He looks bigger, fresher, and even more dangerous. Paddy's unbeaten UFC run stands at 7-0, with names that have grown in significance: Vendramini, Vargas, Leavitt, Gordon, Ferguson, Green, Chandler. The Chandler fight, where he came close to the brink before drowning Chandler in elbows, shut a lot of critics up about whether he belonged among the elite.
But lad, if I wasn't injured for a year and got an easy route to the belt like him, I would have been champ by now. You know what I mean? But I got injured for a year, had to get surgery. My wife had twins, I had to take 6 months off of that. You know what I mean? if I didn't have to have these little times off these intervals and I had an easy route to the belt like he did, I would have been champion by now.
Odds makers would almost certainly open Topuria as a clear favorite, but there are wild cards everywhere. Paddy is the bigger man at lightweight, likely to enter the cage taller, heavier, and with more mass. His grappling has been tested against elite competition for years, and more than any stat, he's convinced he lives rent-free inside Topuria's skull. In one interview, he compared their feud to Khabib versus McGregor and didn't sugarcoat anything. He said he absolutely hates Topuria and wants to inflict pain on his life, not just beat him in a sport. The Qatar confrontation was, to Paddy, proof of concept. He says he rattled the champion with nothing more than a greeting. He openly mocked the Bernabeu challenge and leaned into attacking Ilia's national identity, calling his Spanish supporters fake countrymen and mocking his German roots. That's not marketing, that's targeted psychological warfare.
Sorry to interrupt, bro, but I truly want to hear your opinion. If our content feels good to you, please comment your thoughts. We're facing low subscriptions lately, and your support means the world. Please subscribe so we can continue this journey together.
The inevitable collision. 4 years, that's how long this has been simmering. From reckless tweets about war and tragedy, to sanitizer bottles flying in hotel kitchens, to post-fight shoves in the cage, to security lines in Qatar. This rivalry has been ugly in ways most MMA feuds never read. Topuria walked away in Doha. Paddy called him a coward for it. Topuria says he only needs 15 seconds to finish Paddy. Paddy says he'll elbow him until his face looks deformed. Both men are predicting violence that sounds less like sport and more like punishment. Someone is deeply, catastrophically wrong. The UFC understands what they're sitting on. The fans know exactly what they want. The fighters know there's only one real ending. The cage door closes, the outside noise dies, and those 4 years of venom don't need security anymore. Topuria brings the cold numbers, the perfect record, the legendary names on his resume, the sniper knockouts. Pimblett brings size, funk, and a suffocating ground game. But beneath all that, both are fighting for something bigger than rankings: pride, identity, and legacy. When that fight finally happens, there will be no corridor to disappear into, no hotel door to slip behind, just canvas, steel, and consequence. Then we'll finally learn whose hatred works better under bright lights: the cold, calculating executioner, or the loudmouth scouser who's been trying to live in his head for 4 years. Thanks for watching. Check out the other cards on the screen.